New in version 2017 are a couple new symmetry tools. One is the planar symmetry and the other is the radial symmetry. So the first one we're going to take a look at is the planar symmetry tool. And it uses the same icon that used to be what we called the mirror tool. So now if you mouse over what used to be the mirror tool, it'll show up as the planar symmetry tool. So it behaves much the same as the mirror tool used to work. So you just pick the object and then just go ahead and set a mirror plane. So in this case, we're going to go right across the axis and it will give you a new object over to this side. What's really cool about this is, especially with the polymesh tools. So if I go back and I want to edit this, because remember everything's still in construction history. So if I go back to the original polycube and I want to edit that, so let's go and edit some faces and let's maximize this screen so we can see what's going on. I can go ahead and do some extrusions on one side and the symmetrical part will update automatically. Now, what's really nice is with the polymesh tools, a lot of times when you're using symmetry, you want to create one seamless object. So by default, what happens if it detects a polymesh tool is being applied to the symmetry tool, it will automatically go ahead and join and trim those two objects together. All right, so if I go and make more extrusions, I can do that and it'll continue from there. And anytime they start to crisscross or overlap each other, the combination of the two will happen automatically. So as you can see here, they happen automatically. If you get something like this, obviously it's just because the points need to be rotated. So then you can rotate the points around and you'll have a nice clean transition between the two parts. So that one is really beneficial. If you don't want them to automatically be joined together, if you just go back to the symmetry tool itself, there are all the options in here for automatic trimming. If you don't want that, you can uncheck it. And again, if it senses that it's a polynurb that's being applied, the auto trim and the combine will automatically be taken into consideration and also automatically applied. Now, if I have an object that is a NURBS based object like this sphere, and we'll put this out here in front so that we can see it. And let's do the same thing. So we'll go ahead and apply symmetry to here. And we'll mirror it across. Well, we'll just go over here just so that you get an idea of what happens when they overlap. All right. So now if I go into the original part, which is this sphere, and I want to edit and say they start to crisscross. So they come across here. You can see that there's still two separate entities. There's no trimming happening. You can turn that on if you want to, but by default, if it's a NURBS surface or a NURBS object, they will not automatically combine and trim and join. So they'll still be considered as two separate things. But just like before, if you go back to the symmetry command, let's just get out of here, escape out. You still have all of the same options. So if you really wanted them combined, you can combine them together and you could apply trim and you can see that it'll be trimmed and then they'll be joined together. So a lot of different options, super powerful, and really just enhances what used to be the mirror tool to do a lot more. Now the other type of symmetry that we've added is radial symmetry. It behaves very similar to the planar symmetry, except you can do obviously multiple pieces and parts. So, and it's found under what used to be called the polar copy and uses the same icon for the tool, which has now been updated to be the radial symmetry. And it's in this flyout panel right here, and it's at the very end, which is the radial symmetry. Just select that, pick which object or objects you want to be involved. And the origin, we'll just go ahead and keep it there. Pick points on the planes to be copied, blah, blah, blah. It can be wherever you want it. And then the number of copies, in this case, we'll do 6, and it automatically does that. Now, just like the other tool, it's in construction history. So if I go back and I click on the original poly object that I started with, I can go here and let's go into edit mode and let's start to play with this thing. So maybe I'll grab this face and also grab this face, and I'll start to extrude those. And so you can see all 6 elements or all 6 parts will automatically be extruded at the same time. So it makes really nice work if you want to design things that are, that are symmetrical in a radial pattern. This is really easy to do. Same options as far as automatic combining and trimming and all that kind of stuff. You have access to that as well. So hopefully these 2 tools will kind of improve the workflow, especially with the NURBS stuff. We think it'll help out quite a lot. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight on how these 2 new tools work.